we earn a living by growing and processing tobacco, just as our families have done for generations. And if we stop growing tobacco, we might lose our homes, and we won't be able to feed our kids if we have any, and we'll be in debt, and we won't be able to pay our taxes.
And if you take away tobacco, the people themselves, they might try and hurt themselves because they're addicted, and it can also hurt us because that's the only way we have to earn money.
The people who smoke.
Yeah.
If you stop their addiction, it's going to be hard to control, and you don't know what could happen.
Okay. Some people just might say tobacco is bad for you, but it's not our fault that we're buying it. We're just trying to make a living, and we're not forcing them to smoke cigarettes. It's their choice and their life.
Sorry, can we interrupt? We have a few questions to ask you guys.
Yeah,
Yes.
no problem. Okay.
Well, since you guys are growing the tobacco, apparently it's all your life is supported on it. Why do you think you should be growing tobacco instead of maybe finding another way to grow another kind of crop?
Well, in where we live, the only thing that the easiest thing to grow in our area is tobacco. That's the most easiest thing that we can grow. We really can't grow anything else with the money that we have. That's just why we have to grow tobacco.
And then we've been doing this for generations, so we want to keep up our tradition in our family and our business. Also, we might not know how to grow other things because we're so used to growing tobacco. It might be hard for us to get used to planting something else. Do you have any other questions?
No. Oh, no, actually, Graham had something.
Okay.
So, you guys are obviously supporting smoking, but do any of you know some of the consequences of smoking?
We do know the consequences. We do know the consequences of smoking. It's lung cancer, other breathing issues.
Yeah.
But like we said before, we're not forcing them to smoke. They're just turning our natural stuff into an addiction.
Okay.
We never said anything that we're growing tobacco. You have to smoke. It's their choice to take a cigarette and smoke.
And we never said we're going to harm your family if you don't smoke. Nothing.
No threats.
No threats. No. I have a question. So if you guys are growing tobacco, of course you can grow more than smoking cigarettes and stuff. So you could still grow your tobacco without harming any smokers or anything. Would that be a problem for your business?
Could you clarify the question?
If tobacco can be used for other things besides smoking, so would it harm you if you did something different with tobacco instead of smoking? Cigarettes kind of cost a lot of money, so when they buy it, most of the money goes to us. So we get it's helping us, and we get a lot of money. And we are used to growing tobacco, and if we change our roots or our process of doing this, we might hurt our family by doing the wrong thing or making the wrong decision. Does he want to say something?
If we lose our jobs, we won't be able to pay our bills and for our house.
And then it's going to be our fault
Yeah.
that they forced us to stop our job
Yeah.
and that we can't pay it. Yes.
You guys said that you don't really care if they smoke or not, right? But don't you kind of want them to smoke? Because if they stop smoking, then your product would be gone and you guys wouldn't have a living, like you're saying?
We're just trying to make a living. We're trying to make a business. It's the same thing as if someone here was a blacksmith and they're just trying to make a living too. It's the same thing. And again, we're not forcing anyone to smoke.
It's okay if Griffin has a question.
Well, have you ever like thought of like planting a food? Because if you like plant a food, then many people will buy your product because, of course, it's food and they need food. Like, let's just say if you go tomatoes, more of a profit. If you like grow tomatoes or something, because people are going to want to buy those.
All right. Like I said before, we are the place where we live. It's hard to grow food, and like she said before, we want to kind of keep our family tradition. And you said, there's one correction. You said vegetable and tomatoes.
Do you have anything more to add? Because we have no more questions.
I am. And a lot of people think that smoking affects other people in a restaurant or in a public area. And the restaurant, they can just build a room divider and separate the room so there can be like a smoke-free zone and a smoker zone, so that it won't affect the other people who don't want to smoke.
Going back to what Ian said, like if you can grow tobacco, how can you not grow like other plants? Because they're the same thing.
They're like both plants. You know what we're saying?
Just like I said, it's like for the science fair project, Mr. Solar's recommended bean plants because they grow fastest than any other plant. So if I try to grow a tree, is my science fair project gonna finish in time? No. So we only have a certain type of plant that we can grow in our area.
And we're just used to growing tobacco, so it'd be kind of hard. Like, we know where to get it, and it'd be hard, like, to buy just some random other food or something.
And that's the way of our life. And if we have to stop our business, we lose the way of our life. And it will be hard to start over.
And if, like, and they're turning, like, themselves into, like, oh my gosh.
Wait, what is it?
No, it's just the one that okay, if smoking makes them happy, then when they die, they'll die happy because they know that they lived a happy life themselves. They don't care what anybody else.
You might be thinking, well, how did they live a happy life? They had all this bad stuff happening to them. It was their choice for them to smoke. So it's not really our fault that they're smoking and dying. So, don't blame us.
And
So,
Kiddos, just so you know, we're going to stick to a strict time limit of 10 minutes, and we're at 8:18.
alright, and then, so, like we said before, if they're perfectly fine with themselves smoking, then they'll be perfectly fine when they
Because I don't want you
pass or
talking
die.
during it.
And then people might sue us for people who are
People who are smoking could sue us for stopping our businesses because they might.
So, kind of like to clarify what Kelly and Kelsey are trying to say, that the people who are smoking could sue us because they're having all these problems, and they're depending on us to stop it. Well, if you want us to stop, you want us to die, right? If we don't grow our tobacco, we're gonna lose our money, and we're not gonna be able to buy any food.
just saying, instead of planting food, couldn't you just buy cattle? You could buy sheep with the profit you've already made.
And again, like we said many times, we don't want to change
30
our
seconds.
family's generation, our way of life. But then, okay, so we start our business, we buy some, like, cattle or something, but then how will we make any more money?
And people might not prefer what comes from the cattle and stuff.
They might not want cattle, because
they
they might
want
want cigarettes
lactose.
instead of cattle.
Can I say something, guys?
Nope.
And like we said,
Time.